Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode 8 of Money Hungry. What's going on, Kim? How are you?
It's good, except it's Wednesday.
What did I say?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Same thing. Same thing in our world. Welcome to Tuesday's episode, number 8, Money Hungry. We are so grateful to have you all with us. We have quite a show tonight. We've got a couple of last-minute special guests, hence why they're not in the thumbnail. We are going to be talking about Uber making false accusations against drivers, including false contract violations, as well as some other pretty weird things. We're, of course, going to be talking about the Doordash lawsuit. We're going to have a conversation about if customers are getting the same runaround from support as drivers. And we're going to talk about if Uber has hit a new low with base pay. So we've got a very interesting show for you. So something else has come up within the gig economy over the last several days. And I started getting a bunch of messages and seeing a bunch of stuff flooding the internet about drivers in California randomly getting large Prop 22 payments out of nowhere. And that's pretty cool if you're not expecting the money. But we're going to talk about how that came to be, as well as the RideShare Guy's role in getting you guys that money. So I would like to introduce our first guest, Pablo. And Pablo is a face that you will see a lot more on the RideShare Guy in the very near future. So let's go ahead and bring Pablo on.
Hey Pablo, how are you?
Pablo, what's going on, bro?
I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself?
Good.
Everything good?
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in the gig economy, how you got started, whether you're part-time, full-time, just give us the rundown.
All right. So I started doing RideShare in October of 2019, right before the pandemic. I got laid off from my sales job, and I said, I'm going to do this for a few months. And then the pandemic happened, and I kept doing it. And, the money was pretty good in the beginning. When the lockdowns happened, I did Instacart and then some RideShare, but I never stopped driving through the whole pandemic. And that's how I started doing RideShare. I did RideShare. I did Lyft about 6 or 7 years ago for a few months. And that was the plan, to just do it for a few months. And now here I am 3.5 years later, I'm still doing it.
Okay.
So that's how I started.
Okay. So I've heard a little bit about you from a mutual friend of ours, Sergio. And he says that you're one of those drivers who definitely knows what they're talking about, and you should be definitely viewed as an authority in the rideshare space. So we are very grateful to have you on here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you noticed with Prop 22 and how that came to be and how it got in the RideShare Guy's hands?
Well, I read the prop before the law passed, right? So I read it, and it was in the back of my mind. And then something that I started talking to Sergio just basically after doing some tweets, after seeing him on his Show Me the Money Club show. And we were just chatting. And then one day I remembered that there was something in the law that said about an inflation adjustment on the engaged mile. And I'd never seen it, right? I mean, every time even though I never got any Prop 22 money, Liv would always send us a report every 2 weeks, and it always said 30 cents. And so around mid-April, I went back to read the law itself, because I was thinking that it was the companies that were not paying the 32 cents just arbitrarily, or the extra money arbitrarily. But no, I read it again. And the authority to do that adjustment was given to the state treasurer of California. So on April 13th, I just decided to call the office and ask them what was going on. And it was a 13-minute conversation back and forth, put on hold with the person who answered the phone call. And first, she was saying it was was trying to tell me about the IRS, deduction mileage. I'm like, no, this is something. So I had to cite the law, the paragraph, the whole thing, and put on hold a couple times. By the end of the conversation, it's like, yeah, you're right. This is something that the treasurer has to look at it, and she's aware. And great. So now I'm waiting for it. Immediately after, I text Sergio, hey, have you checked this? Look at what I just figured out. And so we were waiting and nothing. We had, there was no No publishing, no nothing from the state treasurer. So on May 4th, I tweeted at the treasurer, "Hey, what's going on with this adjustment?" And nothing, no response, nothing. On May 10th, she tweets at me with my tweet, "Share this. The publishing has happened," right? It's basically, here's the link, and then she published on May 10th. So, and that's how we got here.
So, Sergio, run me through what happened when Pablo ran this past you. Actually, before we do that, I think it's safe to say, had you not noticed that, these drivers wouldn't have been getting potentially tens of millions of dollars in retroactive pay from the gig apps. So I think really the community as a whole, not just California drivers, but the community as a whole owes you a massive thank you and a round of applause. You caught something.
Yeah, I mean, look,
long overdue.
I have every Tuesday I have a partner in crime on Show Me the Money. Is Chris, obviously.
Yep.
And on this one, Pablo is my partner in crime. And what happened is that, he texted me this. It all started with an innocent text where he circled, which we have all the texts, we have all the records, obviously. We have all the conversation records, between me and the treasurer. Pablo has his screenshot of the 13-minute conversation that he had. So once he texted me this, I said, we had a long, actually, text conversation after that. We did probably maybe I don't know how many back and forth. And I said, this is something worth digging into because I did not know about it, honestly. I know a lot about Prop 22, but I did not know about the inflation adjustment. And we all are living inflationary times. Everybody's experiencing this, right? We don't have to be gig workers to know that everything is more expensive than it was a year ago or 2 years or 3 years ago. And I thought, maybe this would be something that drivers would appreciate, right? But
yeah,
it was initially just a text. And then, I started reading the law and the Prop 22, what's in it, how it should be done. What Pablo said is correct. The chronological order was as such that once you start digging into something, right, it gets to a point that, either you have to do something about it yourself, but RSG's reach is pretty wide, but not as wide as, let's say, a Wall Street Journal or an LA Times. So what happened is that, I created this package with all the proof that we have with the law and with the links of the law, which is going to be shown next week on Show Me the Money. Please tune in because we're going to break it there wide open. And so I was like, this is something that could add up to a lot of money initially, because I did a quick back of the envelope calculation. There is 1.4 million gig workers in California. Okay. Now, the law Prop 22 is written in a way that most rideshare drivers do not get the money from Prop 22. However, a lot of last mile delivery drivers will be getting money. Now, this is not just, by the way, the two big guys that we know, DoorDash and Uber Eats. This is Grubhub. This is Instacart. This is Walmart Spark. This is Target Shipped. It's Amazon Flex. This is basically all the companies who hire independent contractors to do deliveries fall under Prop 22.
Yes.
And they have to do adjustments. So once I put the package together, initially I sent it to the Wall Street Journal, and then Preeti Karana, who's a good friend there, started digging around. She called the treasurer and she said, definitely, this is a story we got to run. I go, great. She called the treasurer's office. She talked to them. She called all these companies one by one. Those conversations, we'll just kind of keep it for ourselves for Tuesday because we have the records of all these conversations. But long story short,
can't give everything away all at once.
No, I mean, look, it's out there now. So long story short, what happened is that last Friday, after I hung up with Brian Merchant of LA Times, Pablo sent me this screenshot of a friend of his who does DoorDash. Well, guess what? My wife does DoorDash. Immediately, I just go, did you get anything from DoorDash? She goes, yeah, I got this. Well, DoorDash announced that they're going to pay the adjustment that the treasurer published, like Pablo said, on the 10th of May. Our concern was that they're not going to pay retroactively, right? They were going to pay just from May 10th going forward because that's the day that the treasurer published. the new rates, which happened to be, it went from 30 cents to 32 cents for all of 2022 and from 32 cents to 34 cents for 2023.
Wow.
And
So
what did the DoorDash do? The goodness of their heart, they said, we're going to go back retroactively and do it. They were the first one out of the gate because they knew, that they were going to get hit with a massive class action lawsuit. I mean, I'm talking massive.
another one.
So I had that ready to go. Look, everything fell into place. Two guys, and Pablo gets the credit for discovering it. Of course, I gave it the push I needed to give, and sure enough, look where we are now. A lot of people getting a lot of money. Okay, I've had one person email me saying that he got 1,200, 1,800. Personally, in my household, okay, between me and my wife, we got $300, and we are a super part-time cherry-picking family, okay? And I, by the way, also kept track since last July when I did my first delivery all the way to my 1100th last week. I've kept a spreadsheet, immaculate spreadsheet, with exactly how many miles, how many online hours, how many active hours I've driven because I love spreadsheets. Sure enough, I ran my numbers for 22 and 23. Uber underpaid me for $3, so I'm going to let them slide on this one. But they paid me $85.75. It's in my account. My wife got $127 from Uber Eats, and she got over $80 from DoorDash. So $300 is not much money, of course, to a lot of people. But now, if you figure this out, if you extrapolate this with, I'm not going to say 1.4 million all gig workers, but if you're a full-time delivery person and you drove 50, 60, 70,000 miles in those 18 months that these companies ignored the law, I'm just going to say ignore. I'm not going to say they broke the law.
They knew it. They knew the law.
Treasurer was asleep for 18 months as well, because what they're going to do now is they're going to kick the ball back and forth. But, DoorDash announcing this, threw the treasurer under the bus. So now we have other issues, right? We have to follow with all these other companies to come forward. And today, just before I came on, Lyft announced that retroactively they're going to do it. So there's not 3 now. Now we're missing about 5, the major ones. There are smaller ones too. So that's where we are. People are getting money and they're thrilled about it.
All that money just really adds up if you think about it. So if you could guess, how many millions of dollars were drivers out over this period of time that they forgot or misplaced the money?
I mean, Pablo knows this. We talked to him, and then he can voice his opinion on this. But I did just because, LA Times is going to pick up this article and do a nasty one on the treasurer. Treasurer's excuses were, we'll break that next Tuesday. We don't want to go too much into detail. But what I'm doing, I did a back of the envelope calculation. Okay, so let's say 20%, just 20% of 1.4 million gig workers are full-timers, because that's what they say, 20% of the people. So that's 250, let's say 250,000 people. And if you take the mileage on 250,000 people for 18 months, and let's say they drove 4,000 miles a month, which is actually very easily done, right? It will come to close to 4 to 5 billion miles times cents. We're talking cents now. On average, if you took 2022 and 2023 adjustment and say it's 3 cents, it's $150 million that it just went into the pockets of drivers. And this is just that 20%. Now, part-timers like me are getting money. So overall, I think this could end up anywhere between $200 to $300 million of money falling into people's pockets. And it all happened because Pablo caught it.
And all because Pablo caught it. Good job, Pablo.
So
yeah, I just read the law and then I was just asking questions. That's really what it was. Now, why it took 18 months? That's the question that I think that Sergio's alluding to, and I think that's what we're going to try to discover over the next couple of weeks, because this money should have been in the pockets of thousands of drivers over the last year. Now, it's a interest-free loan that was given to these companies, and now you're getting it back. But honestly, it's interest-free because this money should have been paid as of January 2022, and it was ignored. And we know why, the excuse that they're going to be using, but I think that there's no way we're going to let it slide. And I still don't understand why some companies are not even Look, even the message that Uber sent out on Monday is incorrect. They're ignoring the date. The only ones that came out pretty, DoorDash came out on Friday, and they delineated everything perfectly. When it started, why, when, the whole thing. Lyft ignored it. It was just random. Here's the email today, and we're gonna pay on the 30th. Well, but we're already what's today, the 24th. We're already talking about 2 whole weeks since it was published. It was published at around 11 o'clock in the morning, May 10th. It was my birthday. It was my birthday to give everybody all this money that was owed to them. So I don't get any money because of the way I run my business. That's great. But what I'm learning is that in delivery, just looking at some TikToks, everybody gets all excited about, Monday because it's like Prop 22 money. So I didn't know about this, how important this is for the delivery side of this business. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that there's people that are going to get a lot of money. It's money that belongs to you. So it's not like you're getting something free. This money was yours and you loaned it out for 18 months, interest free.
So let me ask you this, gentlemen. If you didn't catch this, do you think that the drivers would have gotten this money, or would the gig apps have just held on to it indefinitely?
I think this is what's happening here, right? So actually, I saw somebody in the chat that got $239. Mm-hmm. Congrats! Bravo. Spend it well, enjoy it. And then I saw another comment that says, "I'm skeptical. I don't know. Whatever you're skeptical about, let's see what you are." But the point is, this was the way the law was written. It was the treasurer's duty to calculate the inflation adjustment according to the CPIU and publish it in January of 2022. Okay. She didn't. She dropped the ball. Now, she had to do it again in January 2023. Well, when she finally published it, inflation was soaring, and the adjustment was 7.1% for 2022 and 6.9% for 2023. That's how we got from 30 cents and 32 cents to 34 cents. But just because she dropped the ball, does that mean that the companies couldn't have come forward and do it themselves? Well, they're not going to do it. But you guys must understand there is a very important point here. Prop 22 was passed with $220 million of funding of all these gig companies. They said, these are benefits. We're taking care of drivers. I go, great. Okay. However, they never mentioned once on the million CNN commercials that I watched while Prop 22 was being battled, before the last elections. They never said one word that this is not a gig company funded bill.
No.
This is totally a customer and consumer funded proposition.
How much do customers in California pay for Prop 22?
Prop 22, yeah. So
how much do customers?
So on RideShare and delivery, every single time there is a RideShare trip happening or a delivery is happening, all these gig companies charge you, the consumer, anywhere on RideShare between 45 cents, in LA County, 75 cents. 45 cents to 75 cents on each RideShare trip, and it's on the customer's receipt. It clearly says California driver benefits. I guarantee you the customer doesn't even know that they're paying that, number one. Number two, on the delivery side, anywhere between 99 cents and $1.50 is paid per order by the consumer. So this money has been already collected by these gig companies. So these gig companies are not paying this out of their pocket, by the way. So don't feel too bad for DoorDash or Uber Eats or Uber or Lyft or Grubhub or Instacart or whatever they are. This company has been paid and it's been sitting in their bank accounts collecting interest. So now,
of course.
Yeah.
So this is what I think is eye-opening to even people who don't live in California, because we always second guess whether these companies are taking money from somewhere or not showing full transparency or not giving us the full dollar amount for what we're getting as drivers, whether it's rideshare or food delivery. So this kind of proves the point that there is some stuff going on that drivers just aren't aware of unless you pay really close attention like Pablo did, because that's a lot of change that is out of the pockets of drivers that they didn't get and now are getting.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if I was a full-time, and especially a multi-apper, by the way, if I was a full-time Uber Eats DoorDash driver, okay, and I drove 60, 70,000 miles in the last 18 months, I'm going to get close to a couple $1,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot of money, right? So, but forget that part. The part is that the money has been sitting. So if this was the other way around, do you think DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, all these gig companies would have asked for their money back with interest?
Of course.
I bet they would. So like Pablo said, they just had a free, they collected interest twice on this money, by the way, because they collected all this money. By the way, California is 25%, of Uber's revenue. It's a massive market for them, okay? So it is for DoorDash. We're talking billions of orders. They have all this money sitting in their pockets. So while it was sitting there for 18 months, they collected interest. And now they're paying the drivers without interest. There's a saying. Now, the other thing is, Kim hit it on the head. While you're working, there is no transparency. While you're getting this money, there is no transparency. We have all the receipts of the money that showed up in our accounts. If you're a DoorDasher, you got your money yesterday. Last night about 8 p.m., you got your money, whatever was coming to you. Guess how it showed up, guys? It showed up not even as a line item. It just showed up as dollars. It didn't say California Prop 22 adjustment. Wow. It didn't give you the breakdown. Look, not everybody is a nerd like me who keeps spreadsheets for everything, right? For all my shifts and all my deliveries and all that, all the numbers flying around. How about a breakdown? How do I know if you paid me correctly or not? You just sent me some money out of the blue. Thank you, much appreciated. But how about this? Prop 22 on active miles. How about say, Serge, you drove 3,456 active miles. Out of that, 2,200 for year of 2022 got a 2-cent adjustment, and the rest got a 4-cent adjustment. I know this because I have my spreadsheet. How many drivers do you think know this? They don't know anything. They just got some money they're happy about. Great, wonderful. But I think there's questions remain. So like Pablo said, there's a lot more meat on this bone. We're not going to chill here and say, great, we just got people some money. And to me, it's like, no, there's more meat on this bone.
So Sergio, I'm going to kick you a question first, and then I'm going to pass it off to Pablo, and I want your own individual unique perspectives on this. With more and more states moving in a Prop 22 type of direction, what does this mean? What you guys just uncovered, what does this mean potentially for drivers in other states, in your personal opinion?
Do not pass anything like Prop 22 because everybody is asleep on the wheel and they're not going to do anything about it. And this is a huge issue that this sets a precedence that nobody was at the wheel. Everybody was asleep. And if it wasn't, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Pablo figuring this out and sending me the evidence, look, I get a lot of stuff every day from drivers, thousands of emails a month, man. And everybody has something to say. Then, a few of them make it to the, outside the round file. And this was something that I was like, wow, this is unbelievable if it's true. And then you dig in, you figure out. But this also shows one thing. If you guys read any of the videos, comments on all other channels, which people said, I got this money, I don't know where it came from. Well, that's the biggest problem here that we face in the gig economy. Okay, everybody's guessing. Like, something happened, because none of the companies are saying this is your Prop 22 inflation adjustment. First, they got the email, yes, we're going to adjust retroactively. Great.
Yeah.
But they don't even know that this is for that. That's okay.
Well, that makes sense to me. The gig apps don't want to come out and say, hey, we just held your fucking money for 18 months.
Well, no,
sorry.
That's going to come out anyway. That's not going to be just, we're not going to just let that slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm thinking, we need to go for interest. I mean, interest rates were pretty high in 2023. I think you should pay me some interest on the money you held in your account while you're collecting interest. So, but besides that, to finish, I have to leave in 5 minutes. But here's my point. Education is key. Reading everything is key. I know a lot of people are doing this for side income, side hustle, whatever. Yeah. So that's why channels like ours, and there are many channels. I'm not going to dump upon other channels. We do the work. We do pay attention to the law. We watch all the T's and cross all the T's, dot all the I's. And I'm telling you, this is something that drivers should learn from, which is there is no freebies in this world. You need to educate yourself, man. And that's what's missing in the gig world, right? A lot of drivers do
I
the
agree.
work without knowing what, all these gig tubers or content creators, they go, oh, I did a ride along, it's $2 a mile, I'm so happy, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? There is substance, man. And you know what?
Tell us how you really feel,
I'm
Serge.
the RSG guy, and Pablo is going to be an RSG guy, and you guys are. You guys should be, all of you should be proud that you're part of an organization like this, that we look into stuff. We just don't go, it's okay.
It sucks, but
this is not
whatever.
entertainment for me, honestly. This is not.
Yeah.
Some people do it for that, but it's not. To me, you find these loopholes, you nail these people, and then, get people some money they deserve. And it's going to be a ton of money. And I'm glad Pablo figured it out, brought it to me. And it's not over. This is just starting, actually. But I'm just blessed. And it was my happiest day, really, at RSG for the last 5 years. And to me, I'm so proud that we figured this out and people are getting the money. So don't complain, people. If it's $5, say, I didn't have the 5 yesterday.
Mm-hmm. That $5 cost them nothing to get back. So, Pablo, in your own words, your perspective, what does this win for California drivers potentially mean for drivers in other states?
Well, one thing that I'm taking away from this is how us as the little guy have a battle not just against these gig companies, but against government as well. And a lot of times we look at government as like our savior, and a lot of times government is in cahoots with these big companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so when laws like this are written, they're written to their advantage. Talking about the gig companies, especially in Prop 22.
Yeah.
So other states need to really, really look at all the little hidden language that is put in there. Like this proposition, it's really simple. The CPIU number is black and white. Math is math. Mm-hmm. There was no need whatsoever to put the treasurer as responsible for a number that is black and white. Why do we need the treasurer to then say, okay, every January the treasurer has to do this? They wrote it specifically for that reason, to just obfuscate, right? To
Mm-hmm.
make it cloudy, and so that everybody can pass the ball back and forth. Look at the DoorDash email. It's like throwing the treasurer under the bus, right? It's specific. Hey, the treasurer had this responsibility, and we asked them to do this, and they didn't. Well, come on. You guys knew. Black and white. Math is math. Mm-hmm. And just be very careful. Be careful what you wish for, and don't look at government as your savior, because honestly, what I'm taking away from this is how corrupt really the whole system is. Because this was we're going to uncover more stuff, and I get a little conspiratorial, but the truth is that we have to be very careful and read everything. Don't just think that any law that they pass is there for our advantage. No, it's written to hurt us, right? So it's not just a battle between the companies and ourselves. It's government, companies, all these big forces that are against the little guy. And that's the truth. That's how I see it, honestly.
Yeah, little guy won on this one, though. So
the little guy did win on this one, yes.
Little guy won pretty good on this one, so.
Yeah. So Sergio, I know you only have like 2 minutes left. Do you know when? Okay, 5 more minutes. Do you know when these articles are going to come out so we can look for them and pay attention, so we can actually read them and digest them and understand what the articles are saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do an article for our channel for the blog site, so we'll publish that pretty soon. Because we're still collecting evidence. Like, now we're going I'm going like, okay, Amazon Flex, okay, Instacart, okay, Grubhub, okay, Target Shipped, okay, Walmart Spark. You guys are not small feeds, where is it? Where's the cheese? Show me the money. But we're going to talk all about this, and we're going to show all our screenshots next week on Show Me the Money. Starting with his first text to me, all the text strings, all my emails with the Wall Street Journal. Why Wall Street Journal actually did not run the article, because I may throw the Wall Street Journal under the bus here, but we're gonna figure that out between now and next Tuesday. I'm fascinated by people who write the laws. But on the other side, whoever's negotiating against them, like, look, there's a huge push happening. There's 2 bills, actually, as we speak, on 2 governors' desks, one in Illinois and one in Minnesota, So I'm trying to get the Minnesota senator who sponsored the bill on Show Me the Money and to explain how difficult it was to pass this bill with all the Uber lobbying, right? So all these things that we do it for a reason. And one of the reasons is obviously inform, educate, sometimes entertain.
Mhm.
But if you have substance to what you're saying and you really dig deep, there is so much stuff more than just look how much money I made doing DoorDash. That's not the issue. The issue is, take it seriously, man, because these companies are not going to give you anything for free.
No.
And I am, I think this is something. This may be the biggest thing I've done seriously when it comes to this gig economy or gig world. With obviously my partner in crime over here, and I couldn't be happier, man. I really couldn't be. But I also read the comments, and I just kind of shake my head, and people go, "Oh, I got this money. Where did it come from?" Well, you worked for it. You should have figured this out on your own. Maybe even you should have figured this out in last October of 2022.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But imagine all these millions of people in California doing gig work have no clue where the money is coming from. And I'm like, it's sad. It's sad that maybe we're not doing our job enough educating people. But, let this be a lesson, man. Don't trust these companies. Look, they do a lot of good. A lot of people make money. They pay their bills, put food on the table. But there's a darker side. And once in a while, we catch a bone. Well, we caught a big one on this one. So
Yeah.
Congratulations, you two.
Very much so. Pablo, you are a treasure to the driving community. And we want to
by the
thank
way,
you.
Zach, may I interrupt you for a second? Pablo has not gotten 1 cent out of Prop 22. Ever.
That's a good thing.
Ever.
Wow.
So that means that goes to show where his mind is at, right? It's a little deeper than, because he has no dog in the fight. Honestly, none. He hasn't gotten 1 penny because he does so well as a rideshare driver. And the way the law is written, by the way, you know who's going to benefit the most out of this, guys? You know those $2 base pay 5-mile orders, DoorDash orders, that you guys wonder who takes these orders? Those are the guys that's going to get the most money.
Yeah.
In California. And that's where we're at. So I'm like, he doesn't even have a bone to pick, honestly. Nothing. And he figured it out.
Pablo, where can people find you, and what are you going to be doing for RSG? Are you going to be doing articles or videos?
So I'm going to do videos for RSG, starting something new. It's going to be the Spanish content.
Nice.
So I'll be doing Spanish videos for RSG. And the best place to find me would be Twitter, at Pab Gomez, Pabgomez.
Okay.
And that's where I'm at. And you can see my tweets. And you could actually look at the tweets that I was sent over to the treasurer. And then when the treasurer published I'm the only one that she sent. There was no press release on the inflation adjustment. She used my tweet as here you go on May 10th. So you could see that.
That's too funny.
Can I answer one?
So,
can I answer this comment right here? Because like one headlight grid runner. So can you just put that up for a second? Yeah. Well, I don't think she's worth being on the RideShare Guy channel, to be honest with you. So there you go. There's your answer. And the junk we talk, we back up, my man or lady, whoever you are. This is a no BS zone, by far, no BS zone. But Vina Dubal is a good friend, but I don't think she wants to come on, and she wants to, face some tough questions. So, we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
So,
well, Sergio,
Pablo,
I know
you
you
are...
have to get going.
And Pablo,
All right,
you
guys.
are welcome to hang out if you want to, or if you want to jump out with Sergio, the choice is up to you.
I'm jumping out because I got to go make some money. So I'm going to go do some rides.
All right,
Gentlemen,
enjoy
thank
the
you for
cash.
taking the time to join us tonight.
Enjoy the
Thank you.
cash, people. There you go.
right.
Yeah.
But
Enjoy.
tune in next Tuesday on Show Me the Money. We'll talk to you guys more about this.
And a thank you on Twitter for me. Just thank me on Twitter. That's all I want.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. Yeah,
Bye, guys.
I mean,
Take care,
it's all public now, so go follow him and see all his tweets.
All right, guys.
People. Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Bye,
Kim,
guys.
Zach. Have a good
Hey,
one.
thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.
Take care. Isn't that crazy, Kim, how two people can single-handedly be the reason, the sole reason that drivers get potentially over $100 million in back pay. That these apps knew what they were doing. They knew that they weren't paying this out, right? That's ridiculous. But I mean, like, how mind blowing is that? Like, to just sit there and think about that. That really is like a David and Goliath type of thing.
It really is. And I've had talk about the conspiracy theories. And believe me, this is just my opinions and my thoughts. And I have nothing to base this on. Ever since I started doing food delivery, I always said, how can we trust what we're getting is actually the true amount of what we're getting? Like, we're taking the face value that, and we're trusting these companies that they're giving us complete tips from the customers. We're trusting them that the base pay is accurate. Like, we're putting a lot of trust in these companies, but we can't ever follow the money. So we're always going into it like, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
this is
hoping
the
for the
exact
best.
amount that these people are paying us.
So, speaking of that, we have to trust them blindly. But what happens when they start making completely false accusations against their own drivers? What are we to do then? So recently, Uber Eats has been sending out these fake contract violation emails to drivers claiming that a customer said that they didn't receive the order. The problem is when drivers follow up on this, support tells them, no, you didn't in fact have there was no customer who made this claim. This is a mistake. It's a glitch, whatever, right? But this has been going on for weeks now. And I'm hearing from more and more drivers that are saying that Uber is harassing them with total nonsense. So I'll just read off the title of this first one here. This email says, delivery reported is not received by your customer. It's a little small, so bear in there with me. It says, hi, Pamela. We received a report from one of your customers that the order was not received, although you marked it as complete. Here are some ways you can use the app to successfully complete trips. Now, the thing that stomps my gizzard about this, Kim, is the fact that, sorry, got my names mixed up for a second there, is the fact that at no point in that email did they allude to the possibility that that customer that doesn't even exist may have been lying. So this screenshot we're looking at here, this was a friend of mine, and I was actually in the car with her when she got this email and when she called support. So I got to see this with my own two eyes and listen to this conversation happen in real time. She has been driving for Uber for 3.5 years. So 3.5, 4 years, something like that. She has thousands of deliveries on Uber Eats. She's a walking GPS. Uber did not give her the benefit of the doubt that she may have done her job correctly, but the customer did something shitty. But of course, nobody claimed anything. So, Kim, what do you see possibly going wrong with Uber sending these fake contract violation messages out?
Besides they're absolutely crap and they're wrong, it just falsely accuses people of stuff that they didn't do. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and one of the things that you were saying was like one of them went out, and I'm sorry, I don't know whether you put this in here, but it was like really outlandish stuff, and I'm like, really? That's what you're giving people? Like, I would be, if I was a driver getting some of this stuff, like, I would be super offended.
Yeah. So now the second message here is this is even smaller with the text. So this second email that a driver received was accusing them of letting somebody else use their account. So this driver swears up and down adamantly that that was not the case. So we have another example of just stuff being made up, thrown at the driver. Kim, are you able to read that last one? That one's like the smallest one yet, and that's way too small for me.
It says, we received a recent report that you were in a dispute. This is the one I was talking about, that you were in a dispute with a resident during an Uber Eats delivery in which you pulled the fire alarm. what? Please ensure you are acting appropriately and within the realm of the law. Like, how would someone know that?
So this driver was completely baffled. Like, I didn't get into an argument with anybody, let alone pull a fire alarm at a delivery. So another one, I don't think that this screenshot made the slides, but another one that I found had a customer supposedly claim that their car wasn't fit for doing deliveries. And so this driver actually got deactivated temporarily because a customer that probably doesn't actually even exist claimed that his completely mechanically sound car was a shitmobile. So Uber is sending out these fictitious messages to drivers, pointing the finger at them over complete nonsense. So if you guys have gotten anything like this, let us know in the chat. If you're catching us on the replay, let us know in the comments. I'd love to know if any of you have had this experience. Kim, did you end up getting any emails like this from Uber?
No, never received anything like this whatsoever. And I have probably over close to 6,000 deliveries on Uber. If I got one of these, I would be like, you're out of your mind. To me, I almost feel like, are they cleaning house, or are they trying to do a scare tactic of some sort? And a lot of times, and kind of just like what we were talking about with Sergio and Pablo, like, you have to read the fine print, because they word it in a way that almost accuses you but doesn't accuse you, and it's very misleading. So if you guys ever get one of these emails, I encourage you to literally go word by word and literally read it really slowly, because they can misconstrue words to make it seem one thing and it's something completely else.
So here's what concerns me about this for drivers. When my friend got the message on the left, she started going through all of her deliveries, trying to figure out which customer made this claim, right? And she went through all of her deliveries for the past 2 days or so, and she couldn't figure out anybody who would have possibly done this. But what if you do have a customer who is particularly problematic or gave you some kind of attitude or something like that? It would be a safe assumption for that driver that it was the bad customer, right? And we all know it does not make it right, but we all know that there are some drivers out there who go and retaliate. So we could potentially see situations where drivers are retaliating against somebody who didn't actually do anything wrong in the first place. And it's Uber's fault because they're pointing the finger over some shit that didn't actually happen.
That's a very good point. I never really even thought about that, because if you think about it, we all have records of everybody, at least I think all of us do, with GPS. Like, we have records of everybody's addresses just by having our own GPS in our systems by delivering. So
yeah,
it's scary. I always say that also about tip baiting. People better watch out, because we know where you live.
For sure. So I could see something like this ending up in court, honestly, because they're basically slandering drivers. They're making claims about us that aren't true. Speaking of the legal system, DoorDash is in trouble again. Let's talk about it.
Oh, DoorDash.
So DoorDash is being sued in a $1 billion class action lawsuit, overcharging iPhone users more than Android users. Kim, is this a good reason to have an Android phone?
No, I'm still an Apple person, true and true. I've always been an Apple person. I have an iPhone, I have an iPad. The only thing I don't have is a MacBook at this point. But I'm an Apple girl. But if you guys haven't read any of the articles, I feel like it's been in the news since last week. So I feel like it's been everywhere. But if you don't know the details, it was the father and his sons who found this out, and they actually found it out because they had Dash Pass, and when they had put the Dash Pass on the account, they were noticing different charges, and one of them, when they used the Dash Pass, got an extra charge, and one of them did not. because they didn't have Dash Pass, and they were comparing phones like side by side, and one was an Android, one was an iPhone. So it ended up being a whole huge thing, and that's how it was actually discovered. Like, fast forward, now we're in a $1 billion lawsuit over literally there's a different charge between iPhones and Androids, which I think is absolutely crazy.
So we've got a couple of slides to show from this. Can we get those pulled up here?
Yep.
Thank you. So we're still working on getting the slides big enough to see. So bear in there with us. Kim, if you're able to, can you show how much the iPhone user was charged versus the Android user?
Yep. One was charged $23.94, and the other one was charged $22.95. So there was like $1 difference.
So it looks to me like the iPhone user was charged the expanded range fee, whereas the Android user was not.
And that's the difference that they're finding between Android and iOS. The iOS is getting this expanded delivery thing.
So this is not the first time DoorDash has been in hot water about something money related. So as most of us are well aware, they did get caught siphoning driver tips years back, 4 years ago at this point. So I don't find this particularly surprising. They've proven in the past that they are willing to play with the numbers in their favor. But usually they do it when it's the driver. So I find this particularly curious because they took a shot directly at the customer this time.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Chris.
Much appreciated. Who's to say Uber isn't ones taking the tips and blaming customers for tip baiting? So true.
That's, yeah. We'd never know any better. We'd never know any better. But tell you what, this handsome devil did a great video on tip baiting on RSG. You guys should definitely go and find his video. If that ever happens, it'll walk you through how to get your money back. So it's not just the iPhone versus Android, though. That's the problem here, Kim. There's also a discrepancy with Dash Pass. It seems like there's some fees that aren't really expected with Dash Pass. Why don't you run us through that?
Yeah, so I think I was saying that a little while ago. Those who have Dash Pass, they're actually, I don't know, it's because like they technically are I'm going to say semi for loose words, because they're now getting charged a fee that's kind of hidden for Dash Pass users. And then those who don't have Dash Pass don't see that fee. So it's almost like they're paying for their own Dash Pass.
So it looks to me like the Dash Pass is still a little cheaper. But they are throwing a random. How much is that fee, Kim? Can you see it?
Let's see.
I had it written down and I can't find it now.
If you don't, 99 cents. The other one did not have it.
So 99 cents. So they're just finding ways to throw money or scalp money off of their customers in any way that they can. So is. Go ahead.
What gets me about this is you're supposed to have Dash Pass to save money, right? That's the whole entire thing. You pay $9.99 a month, and it's supposed to give you the fees and estimated taxes are reduced. You're supposed to get no delivery fees. Like, it's supposed to be cheaper than someone that doesn't have Dash Pass. But when you see these two side by side, it's cheaper by 80 cents.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be quite a bit cheaper than that. So again, like they're charging the customer, what is it, $10 a month, $11 a month for Dash Pass?
Yeah, I think it's like $9.99 unless it went up. I don't know. Thank you, Thomas. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Thomas.
Wednesdays are the best.
Appreciate you. So anyway, and it's a pain in the ass to cancel Dash Pass too, based on multiple complaints that I've heard from drivers who also order as well as customers. So DoorDash really stepped in at this time. They are front and center in a massive, massive scandal, and this is going to cost them dearly. So, Kim, what do you think that this means for drivers? Do you think that customers are going to be less likely to order from DoorDash?
I think if the customer knows about it, I don't know, honestly, if they're going to care, to be honest with you. If someone's going to order food, they're going to order food, unfortunately, regardless of these fees.
Yeah.
Will it do anything? I don't know. Do I think that right now it's affecting the driver? Absolutely. Because if you look at these screenshots and you actually see all these fees as a customer, when you're seeing all these fees, you think that it's going to the driver. I feel like that's the biggest misconception there is out there, and it's not. So then they're thinking, okay, I spent all these fees. Well, I'll just give my driver maybe like $2 because they're already getting something, and I'll chip in something a little extra. Like, I feel like that's the way some of the customers' mindsets are, and it really does ruin it. And as we said previously last week, we rely on tips. This is our salary, this is our money, and this is what actually causes the effect of it.
So, and this is the kind of stuff that makes both customers and drivers not trust them. This, to me, Kim, shows that they didn't learn their lesson after they got caught stealing the customer tips from drivers, because now they're just skipping the driver, at least that we're aware of so far, but who knows what's going to come out, and they're just moving directly to the customer.
I just think that they're looking to save or skim, maybe that's a better word, every penny, every dollar they possibly can.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry.
Well, your mic was cutting out, which is why I was interrupting. But
sorry.
I don't view it as like skimming, though. I view this as flat out stealing.
Oh, I was being nice.
I'm not. Screw them. So that's what's going on with DoorDash. I'm curious if you guys would leave it in the comments or the chat, depending on if you're watching us on the replay or live, if you guys think that this is going to lead to more, fewer orders on the DoorDash platform. And is this a good time to be an Uber Eats driver? Also, let us know that. So, Kim, we're going to kind of go out of order today. Speaking of being an Uber Eats driver, might not be a good time to be an Uber Eats driver. Are we about to hit a new low with base pay?
This is crazy to me. Like, I saw this order and I'm like, so I got an order. I keep getting orders. And to me, this is why I'm not a big fan of Uber Eats in my area, because I received an add-on for $1.50. And then I got the other day, it was a stacked order for $3. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So then when I saw this, I'm like, 83 cents. And this is not my order, by the way. This is somebody else's order. But 83 cents. And I'm like, how low as a company can you possibly pay your drivers?
So for those of you listening to us as opposed to watching, we've got an Uber Eats order up on the screen. It is a single order going 3.3 miles for a whopping 83 cents. So, and that does, my initial thought, Kim, when I saw this, was that this was one of those markets that it was only showing the base pay and then the tip was, coming through later on. But no, includes expected tip. So this person got completely shafted, whoever ended up accepting this order. 83 cents.
Hopefully they didn't accept the order, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Why, as a driver, would you ever take something like that? Please tell me.
Part of the problem, though, is drivers do it. They have an employee mentality. They think that they're going to, be looked at with, all the stars in the world, and like the employer is going to think that they're just the greatest driver ever, right? But in reality, they're just a number who's running their car into the ground with nothing to show for it.
So Charmander said, I saw the 83 cents also. I was dying. So please tell me this isn't a new low.
So I've seen base pay as low as, I believe it was $1.95 in my market. And actually, I want to say I saw 150 one time. But this is interesting because it was only realistically about 6 months ago that they lowered base pay the last time on Uber Eats. They did a bunch of clever stuff when they released a new driver agreement. And we started seeing Uber playing with some base pay numbers. So, time will tell with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I did research for one of the videos I did for RSG, and it was comparing all food delivery apps. And surprisingly, Uber Eats, as well as a lot of people love them and think that they're really great paying. If you really pay attention to their base pays, they're the lowest out of all 3 food delivery apps.
Well, here's where you're wrong, though, Kim. So Grubhub doesn't pay worth a damn for mileage anymore. DoorDash doesn't pay any, not in my area they do.
But they don't pay less than this. This is bad.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. But the difference there is the fact that Uber Eats actually gets orders and Grubhub doesn't, so it ultimately doesn't matter. But DoorDash damn sure isn't paying any mileage. So again, I default to I'm right and you're incorrect, respectfully.
No. No. Sorry, I'm going to stick with Uber Eats base pay is crap. Hence the proof that's right in front of you, and we'll go from there. Lowest base pay of all 3. Okay, done.
So, all right, fair enough. We're going to have to agree to disagree on this. I think that I still see far better pay on Uber Eats consistently than I do on DoorDash. So, and that's even with ridiculous base pay. The mileage frequently makes up for it, and it's just a whole thing. So now, when a driver is presented with an offer like this, right, and it bounces from driver to driver to driver, inevitably, because nobody in their right mind would accept that unless they have an employee mentality, and that customer inevitably ends up getting their food just frozen cold, and they call support, are they going to have a better time on the phone with support than we as drivers do?
Interesting. Oops, sorry.
So, Kim, why don't you run us through this story? And I think we have a video to play on this one as well.
We do. So it was actually a TikToker. We all know we love our TikTokers. And it's, quote, exactly why I never get food via DoorDash or Uber Eats. Customer calls DoorDash customer service after driver delivered cold Wendy's order and it doesn't go so well. So the backstory on this is she ordered Wendy's. Regular Wendy's order. She was waiting and her order never came. So she decided to call DoorDash support and say, hey, my order's still not here. It looks like the driver stopped. The support, fantastic support, said, why don't you call the driver? Why isn't support calling the driver themselves? But they instructed the customer to call the driver. She calls the driver and the driver says, oh, I'm picking up my kids before I drop off your order.
What?
Absolutely ridiculous. If this is true, absolutely ridiculous. So she finally gets the food after he picks up his kids and it's completely cold. So she calls back support, tells them what exactly happened. They give her a runaround. She had to go, through support person, finally had to go to a supervisor and then got a refund. So it made me think, do customers get the same runaround that we as drivers get?
So I have had a few experiences with support. It seems like half the time, a third of the time that I order DoorDash, something is missing. So I've never not gotten the order, but it frequently is missing something. I don't know if it's just my luck or what, but I've had to get, I guess, but I've had to get probably 4 or 5 adjustments like over the course of the years. So, but I've never had a negative experience with support other than trying to get them to understand what the problem actually was. Like that's in my experience, that's as bad as it ever got. So why don't we go ahead and play that video? If you want to pull us down here for a minute, Kim, let's let this lady tell her story in her own words.
I ordered food with DoorDash, and I ordered at 2:35, about 2:35. I get the food look cold. It's not even something I'm about to finna eat, okay? So then I called DoorDash. I'm like, okay, well, where's the food? So then they like, okay, well, we're recommending for you to call the driver. So I called the driver, And I'm like, okay, like, are you okay? Where's the food? Oh, I just picked up the food. And mind you, DoorDash shows you when a person picked up the food. I just picked up the food, and I had to take a detour to go pick my kids up. So then I called DoorDash, and I'm like, okay, well, this food, I'm about to throw it away. I can't eat this. So then they said, okay, well, we're going to issue a $3 credit. Like, what? What is this? Like, when I tell you this food is cold, like, literally cold. Like, hell nah.
Hell no. All right, Kim, I got some problems with this. So, first of all, that's Wendy's. I think that the vast majority of drivers will agree with me that that order was not ready when that driver showed up.
No.
So, furthermore, do you think support would have reached out to the driver themselves or had this customer do it?
I don't think. I have a hard time with support telling the customer to call the driver. I don't see why I mean, it's happened maybe a handful of times to me that support has called me, but it's more like I've gotten calls, like weird calls from support saying, hey, we have an extra order on your phone. We'll give you an extra $1 or $2 to deliver it, like that type of thing. Or if I pick up an order and that's like a reorder and the customer's been waiting a while, just want to verify that you're going to the restaurant. I've gotten those, but I don't know. I've never really gotten calls from support either. I think some of this is BS, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can agree with that. To me, this looks like another TikToker who went viral for maybe telling some tall tales. I don't doubt that the order was necessarily late. There was no mention on if she tipped, anything like that. So we kind of just have to take her at her word, but being a driver who knows exactly how Wendy's works, I'm skeptical. So
Yeah,
I'm giving this like a 4 out of 10 on the likely scale. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it. I will say this. I think she might have gotten a runaround with support though, just because their support is really good as drivers are concerned with the small things. You want to cancel an order because of X, Y, and Z? Sure, done. You want to, the store is closed? Done. Like, they're really good at the small stuff, but when it comes to like the really, really big problems that they don't know how to handle, I can't tell you how many people you have to go through in order to get a result.
Yeah, this driver pissed in my food. Something like that. Yeah. It's crazy. So, and I hate doing these TikTok things, right? But I almost feel like this is just my perspective on how this affects the driver. Feel free to tell me if you agree with me or disagree with me. But these videos go viral. They blow up. And customers, all over the country, potentially even the world, right? Because, DoorDash operates in like 9 countries or something like that. People all over the world see these videos and they're just like, oh, that's a terrible company. I'm not going to order from them. I'm going to get my food frozen. The driver's going to mess with it. They're going to be rude. They're going to steal it, whatever. So then I feel the need that folks like you and I, who actually do our jobs well, have to rebuttal it. So they can get the microphone and reach millions and millions of people. But then we have to come on here and be like, yo, that's not really how it is. Out of like thousands of deliveries, thousands. I have never messed with somebody's order. I've never eaten a fry. Like my on-time rate is in the high 90%. Like, come on. That's not how this shit works. People need to get off of TikTok and get a life. I hate TikTok, Kim.
I'm on TikTok, so I can't really say anything negatively about it because I'm a TikToker too. So, but I don't also go out spewing crap and, false accusations just to get clicks and views. Mine's more like, hey, look at what I did. It's more fun and exciting in the delivery world opposed to I gotcha type of thing.
So you should eat some fries, bro. Here's another problem that I have with this story. The fact that they got $3. Okay, we both know that order, that Wendy's meal probably cost, $20, $30 before tip. So the fact that they only got $3 tells me that they're either full of shit or that they've had so many adjustments. That's all that DoorDash was willing to give them. So there's a bigger problem. What's that?
I said I bet on that, to be honest with you, because
yeah.
Normally, and this is another thing I was thinking when I was doing that. When something goes wrong with DoorDash, which for me doesn't happen too often, I just hit the little question mark on the right hand side. I say what's wrong, and they're like, "Okay, you got a credit of blank," or like they actually do it automatically. But when you go over the limit and you do it so often, that's usually what
So I think what Kim is saying right now is that the app, when it believes you, will just issue it for you. And when they don't, or when you do it too much, you have to deal with support. So, Kim, I'm really curious to get the audience's participation on something.
Yeah.
So we all have the areas that we don't like to deliver to. We're going to pop up a poll here. And I want to know in the chat or in the comments, if you're watching us on the replay, which, if any, of the following do you avoid? Schools, hospitals, or warehouses? So A, schools, B, hospitals, or C, warehouses. Kim, let's have a conversation.
So which one's yours?
For me, A and B, schools and hospitals. I definitely avoid those like the plague. So
it's for me. I hate going to hate it. I always
Which one?
feel schools.
Schools? Okay.
I hate delivering to schools just because I know they're so strict, and they should be, because it is a school system and their security should be strict for the safety of the students.
Yeah.
I have a kid who's in school, so I get it. I hate going up, ringing a doorbell, it's such a pain in the butt. I hate delivering to schools.
So the area that I wait for my orders is in a more upscale area. There's a lot of fancier restaurants and stuff, but there's also 2 Starbucks, like freaking right there, which is problematic when school's in. So I mainly do Uber Eats. So, of course, Starbucks is on DoorDash now as well, but I use a little app on Uber Eats that shows me the entire delivery address. So I don't have to worry about the schools anymore, at least for that one. But occasionally I do get suckered into getting taking an order, going to a different school further away. So that's my thing. I just don't like dealing with teenagers.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with university students.
I hate going to high schools.
I don't want to deal with universities or high schools.
At high schools. Oh, I had the one time, and I didn't realize at the time, and it was actually an Uber Eats order, and I didn't realize it was going to a high school when I took it. Yeah. So I'm on my way. I'm like, oh man, it's going to high school. And then I look at the time, and it's the time that the high school is letting out. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I had to deal with the buses and the school getting let out. The kid wasn't available. I'm calling because it was handed to me. And it ends up being a mom who ordered it for her daughter. Didn't tell her about it. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I started to test the timer right away. I'm like, I'll leave it by the flagpole if she doesn't come out.
You're like getting ready to tear that bag open yourself. Like, see ya. Should have been available. So it seems like most people agree with us that schools and hospitals are kind of no-goes. So why don't you tell the audience why we're having this conversation?
So this was actually somebody complaining on Reddit. I just thought it was a good discussion. And it says, all of these people seem to order from hospitals, schools, warehouses, and other complicated drop-offs. I wouldn't do these deliveries. I am not going to have to call to meet you or hunt you down in a big building. I just unassigned one order because it was at a school drop-off and didn't realize it at first. It's just way too much of a hassle. Any other drivers feel the same? ?
So this person started quite the controversy. Many drivers jumped in on this, and a couple of customers jumped in. Let's see the popular opinion, the popular unpopular opinion from the customer. Go ahead and read that off.
Yeah, sorry. I have to look at it on here because it's way too small.
I think I can probably see this one.
I got it. It says, this is from, this one I actually kind of found funny. Delivering food is your job. You think you're too good to actually work hard at it. LOL. Passive aggressive to me. You need a different job. I'm a middle-aged woman who does this part-time for some extra money, and I do it all. Hospital, schools, warehouses, apartment buildings, stairs, and whatever else. It's not all easy, and that's basically the definition of work. Get over yourself.
So I want to point out there that she was shown a lot of love. Not really. She was downvoted 164 times. So
And
obviously,
I think I'm like 65.
yeah, no. Had I seen that too, I would have been like, I would have clicked it like 5 times just to. So the response from the original poster is, no, I'm an independent contractor. DoorDash isn't paying me a salary. There we go. That's a big word today. Salary. If you want to do every single order, knock yourself out. So this person is the unsung hero of the internet today. So first of all, I think that people who say things like this, like the comment here, where they say, I do this also, I think they're full of shit in so many cases.
We all have our bad list. We all have our areas that we don't go to. We all have deliveries we don't like to do. It's human nature of food delivery that we have them in place because we've got burnt from them at some point or another. So you protect yourself from it never happening again. And that's why you have these places you don't deliver to anymore. So for someone to say that, you can't tell me that every single one of your deliveries have gone absolutely wonderful and fantastic and you're the best driver ever. Like, that just doesn't happen.
You know, there's a reason that drivers don't deliver to hospitals and schools. It's because we've all had our own unique experiences, right? Yeah. So when we were talking about this, I didn't say that I don't go to warehouses. I don't have a problem going to warehouses. I've never had a problem at warehouses. But I damn sure have had problems at hospitals and schools. So, and you know what? The original poster of this, because they're completely right. We're independent contractors, right? DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Shipt, Spark, whatever, all of them. They have fleets of millions of vehicles that they don't pay for, that they don't insure, that they don't put gas in. Oh yeah, and millions of contractors that they don't pay an hourly rate to. Kiss my ass if you don't like the fact that I'm not taking you your fucking order to a high school.
There. I will agree with Cruising Dasher. He said hospitals are getting better. They usually have a designated drop-off area, but if it was like a year or so ago, when they were still not allowing people in, I would actually say I hate hospitals. Now, my hospital has gotten so much better. It has literally, you go in, you drop it off at the security desk, and you walk right back out. So I don't mind hospitals anymore. Catering, I saw Tony in here saying he likes hospitals because of catering orders. I've had bad experiences with catering orders with hospitals because usually they don't tell you where in the hospital you have to go, and then you can't get a hold of them, and then you have to go to like the 3rd or 4th floor with like your bags and your catering trays, and you're like, to me, that's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I hear you. So, you know, and this is such a common argument between customers and drivers, right? The customers feel like we're entitled because we expect to be tipped, right? But the flip side of that same coin is that they feel like they're entitled to our time without adequately compensating us for it. So until we start getting a livable hourly rate for the work that we're doing, we don't owe them or DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub or whoever the hell a damn thing. So, yeah, I got a little passionate there, Chris. So, but let me tell you how I really feel.
How do you really feel?
So, yeah, you know, and this is the divide. And if we go back to the fees that we were talking about earlier, right? The customers are being charged out the wazoo. And many of them assume that we are making a heck of a lot more than we actually are. So I did a video 8 months ago, something like that, on my channel. And I actually found some super sketchy website where I can poll customers, just the general public, on how much they assume that drivers were making. And the vast majority of them assumed that we were making at least twice as much per order as we are before tips. So most people were saying between like $6 and $8 an order before tips. So just in base pay. So it really kind of goes to show the divide between the driver and the customer. So
I don't think customers are educated enough, to be honest with you, with what a driver gets paid and also what it takes for us to do a delivery. Like as far as wear and tear on the car, the gas, everything else, the miles that we put on. Like I don't think they realize. I still feel like a lot of customers think that we work for DoorDash or we work for Uber Eats, because I had an incident that happened to me over the weekend, which we can talk about a different time. But the lady's like, "I'm gonna get you fired." I'm like, "Good luck trying."
Good luck.
So it was. I think there's such a huge, vast difference and a miscommunication or something that I don't think they know what we do, how we get paid. I think they just have no clue.
So, and that's part of the problem with the Colorado bill getting shot down, was it would have shown the customers the breakdown of where their money was going. So, that's another rest in peace moment, I suppose, right? Another should have been win for the driver that goes down in flames, unfortunately.
I agree with Lisa on this one. 3-story apartments remind me of how out of shape I am. I say that every time I go up a flight of stairs.
So yeah, no, I hear you. Anything that doesn't have an elevator, I'm like, but I don't start complaining until the third floor. I'm like, all right. So we've got some funnies to wrap this up on. Kim, do you want to? Oh, actually, you know what? No, we've got one more that we should talk about here. So I want to talk about how we address our customers, communicating with them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we've got some examples of interactions between customers and drivers. And I'm curious to know where you guys kind of fit in this spectrum here. Can we get that next slide up here? So why don't you read off that first one? So it's a picture of Yoda that the driver sent, baby Yoda, that the driver sent to the customer. You want to read that off, Kim?
It says, "Vroom vroom with your nom nom." So this person sent this to their customer, basically saying that they're on their way. And the customer's like, "What does that even mean?" And the driver goes, "I'm on my way with your order." And the customer goes, "Okay, thank you."
What was it? Vroom vroom with your num num?
Yeah.
Oh my.
So the whole entire discussion of this was, do customers think highly of memes? Do they think that they're funny, or do they have the averse effect and give you a 1-star rating? Like, this customer had no idea what they were even saying. Like, what? So it can go either way. A couple people were saying that they send them and people love them and give them extra tips because they made their day. Other people say, "Nope, I'm giving you a 1-star if you send me one of these because I don't get it." So which one do you guys fall in this line?
And let us know if you agree with the statement that some drivers claim that they get bigger tips out of getting memes when they send the customer a meme. So the second screenshot that we have here, the one in the middle, says, "Brace yourself, your order is on the way." So the first customer clearly did not receive this very well. They didn't understand what was going on. Now, the final screenshot is the old communication method with DoorDash where it was like texting. So there's the typical, this is DoorDash connecting you to your Dasher for updates about your order. And then it says, it's a picture of some dude with a bunch of snow surrounding him. And it says, "I have your order. I'm on my way." And this customer said, "This is amazing." So this customer did appreciate it. So Kim, I would be pissed off as a customer if I started getting this kind of shit.
So you're the 1-star.
No, I wouldn't leave 1-star. I probably wouldn't rate the driver so here's my thing. When I'm ordering through DoorDash or Uber Eats, I'm doing it because I'm busy, and either that or I just don't feel like interacting with anybody. So if I'm busy, I don't want my phone going off. Like I'm the type of driver who's very hands off. I'm not going to text my customers anything unless I'm running late or if there's a problem. Other than that, I am hands off.
I am kind of the same. I always tell them I'm leaving, especially if they're a hand it to me customer, because I want them to be ready for when I get there, so that way I don't have to put on and wait out.
Yeah.
But I also communicate a lot of times when restaurants are behind, even if it's a minute, so that way they know it's not my fault. It's the restaurant's fault as to why their food is being delayed. But I'm a professional driver. I guess it just kind of comes from my background. I just don't think for me that these are professional. I saw Lisa put it in here. You just don't know the ages, and you don't know the ages of the customer.
Yeah.
Will they get it? Will they not get it? If I get them, I kind of think they're funny. I'll be honest. I'm like, that's funny, good job, But do I personally do it? No, because I like to keep things professional. The thing with me is I've gotten some quote unquote extra tips, just be like regular communication. At the restaurant, they're behind, no worries. I'll let you know when I'm on my way, or I'm here waiting for you. As long as you tell them you're there waiting for them, that's usually when my extra tips come in. So I don't know whether it's necessary, at least for me, to do something like this.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you know that you're delivering to like a college kid or something like that, you're probably safe to do this. But, again, like Lisa said, you don't know the age of your customer. So you don't know if this is going to some, 70-year-old woman who just isn't going to understand this stuff. So, I'm like, I've had to explain stuff like this to my parents before. They don't really necessarily, they're not dense by any means, but there's some pop culture references that frequently occur in memes that they're just not necessarily going to understand.
Oh, my parents wouldn't get any of this. They'd be like, I don't understand.
It's just like my son, right? He comes home from school using slang words I've never even heard of, and I have to get on like Urban Dictionary to find out if he's grounded. So, yeah.
So that's what I have to look forward to.
So, we've got a different kind of communication style here. I personally wouldn't text the customer unless the order is at least 5 minutes late. That's just me personally. But no, the only time I get in touch with them is if it's late or if there's a problem. So.
Kevin said communication is part of the customer service, but don't overdo it. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think part of customer service too, though, to kind of add to that or rebuttal, I guess, depending on how you look at it, is also knowing what the customer needs or wants. And again, they're ordering for a hands-off experience. So, I don't want them to have to touch their app. I just want them to hear the knock on the door and their food to show up. So again, just my perspective. I don't think that you're wrong and I'm right necessarily. It's just a difference in how we do it. But sending memes is definitely never professional. Kim, we've got some funnies. Let's do those.
Okay.
So we are always being watched. I got a hell of a kick out of this video. Oh,
this is actually really funny, and I was laughing.
Sorry.
So I'm just gonna go play it. So you guys, playing it is probably worth everything we're gonna say to it. So I'm just gonna add it.
Yeah, no, definitely check this out. This is incredible. Take us down if you would, Kim.
It's Instacart. I'm leaving your shit right here. But before I leave, I want to tell you, you put too much shit in your memo. Get the eggs from the bags. Drive easy over the bump so my eggs don't crack. It's too much. I'm already in the goddamn shopping store for over an hour. Then you want me to reach to the back to see the date that's the long. I'm not doing all that no more, ma'am. You're finna make me quit my job. Don't do that. You stay blessed. Your Instacart is here. Ursuline. Get your ass on my board. Did Instacart give you my ID number? Did Instacart give you my ID? Sorry, man. Please don't report me. I'm just trying to keep my job. Stay blessed. Stay blessed, Ursuline.
Oh my gosh. So All right. You know what? I can't even be mad at that shopper. That was incredible. It
was like
irks me.
professional way of cursing out a customer.
Well, I mean, minus the whole, swearing at them part, less that, sure. So, I, would I have pulled an Ursuline? Probably not. But I also think that this probably is going to resonate with a lot of drivers simply for the fact that, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had like the obvious put in comments. Don't block the door with the food. Duh. Like,
I get that all the time.
yeah, and but also props to this customer too. She handled that like a champ.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know if anybody by chance knows Ursuline, tell her to get in touch with us. I would love to hear how this played out for her. I think that she was probably having a pretty bad day and kind of maybe said some stuff that she probably shouldn't have. But again, it was done in a somewhat respectful way while still getting her point across. And so and it could have been staged, Tony, but I think it was hilarious. But can we just put the screenshot of that back up? Not the video itself, but the screenshot leading up to the video. The way she skedaddled, and she did too. She was just like zip. She was just out of there. She was gone. Kim,
she's like,
do you think that this, I'm sorry, I couldn't get enough of this. I was laughing so hard last night. I was crying watching this. Do you think that this was real?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope so because it was highly entertaining. So I hope it was. I hope it was because the customer was a really good sport about it and made it funny. And this is like, yeah, that's totally me. Like if you're a customer and you're very demanding and they call you out at it and they're like, yeah, that's me. Like, I felt like that's what the customer was saying. Like, yeah, I get it. That's me.
Yeah. So we have one more funny to show you guys. This is coming from a Uber Eats customer who was allegedly asked to prove that they never got their order.
Proof.
He's like lifting up the mat, eating nothing. This is too good. So I don't know. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if Uber Eats asked this guy to actually prove he didn't get the order. But the way that this was done was so humorous. And the fact that it made me as a driver laugh is saying something. So, guys, I think that
feel like it could be a really good comedy skit for some comedian out there.
Yeah, that was brilliantly executed, and I definitely got a chuckle out of it. Guys, as always, we are here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are seeing anything strange or out of the ordinary in your markets, please do get in touch with us. You can reach us at Zach@therideshareguy.com. That is Zach with an H, or
Kim@therideshareguy.com.
So we want to thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Also, thank you, Sergio and Pablo, for being on tonight. Check out Show Me the Money Club next Tuesday so you can learn even more about what was uncovered and everything that's been happening with Prop 22. I can't wait to watch it because I want to know even more details. So thank you to both of them for coming on.
Thank you, gentlemen. In the meantime, enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.